Did better than
You
your
want to
phone
introduce
did.
us today, Travis?
No.
Travis, you want to introduce us?
I could.
Okay.
I'm not sure how you usually start these things out. Welcome back, everyone. We are so glad that you're joining us tonight. We've got a topic that is going to, kind of maybe twist a couple of folks.
Including us.
Yeah, we don't mean to offend by anything we say. This is just our thoughts and our opinions.
That's right. We don't mean to intend, but if we do, intend.
Yeah, intend.
We don't mean to offend,
Yeah.
but if we do offend, I'm not really that much concerned about.
Yeah, we're not concerned about.
We're not on the outset trying to offend anyone.
No, absolutely not.
But if you do get offended, we still don't care.
Yeah, just drop us a note and we'll try to ignore it.
Yeah, because you can always just turn to a different podcast. We don't want you to.
No.
We certainly don't want you to, but we're not going to alter our opinions for anyone. I'm not. Are you?
Anyway, thanks for being here. This is religion,
morality, society, the chicken or the egg.
The chicken or the egg, which came first?
That's which was needed or which was the impetus for the other. Exactly. It's a topic that we have in our living room, in my living room. We've discussed many times.
If you're out there on the word count, this is the second time in 4 episodes that he's used the word impetus. Just if you're counting and keeping
That's right.
We're going to stop that.
And don't think that I'm just saying impetus because, I'm used to using the word impotent because I'm not.
Oh, I thought you had. I thought it was going to be the 4th time.
No.
Impetus.
No. It's just a coincidence entirely that they sound a little bit alike. Because I've never, ever used the word impotent except to show that it was not the impetus.
There's been a lot of occasions sitting in the living room that there's nothing to watch on TV or a movie. And worth watching. And me and Scott have spent at least an hour or more at a given point in time on several occasions talking about which came first, morality or religion. Was religion the basis of morality, or did morality exist before religion and it bring it about?
That's right.
Or did they happen to coincide at the same time to kind of help each other out?
I mean, that's entirely possible. Since we weren't there, we don't know.
Right.
But we can plead our case for either situation.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, you want me to start?
Go ahead.
Okay. I've always thought that at the beginning of society, and again, you guys realize this is speculation, but it's speculation based on years and years and years of independent study. I've always thought that that society, the need to better the living situation of the humans that existed at the time, that some of the smartest individuals got together and decided, listen, we can't continue to live the way that we've lived. And what I'm going at, or what I'm saying is this. Up to that point, it's basically who had the biggest club. In other words, they made the rules.
Right. So what time frame are you at?
Oh, this is BC.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is absolute BC time. Okay, this is pre-Roman. This is pre any society other than maybe Göbekli Tepe, but we won't go there at the moment.
Yeah, because we don't know that one.
No, we don't. Right. And there's many people, and again, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I'll just let you guys know. We're not talking about the society that may have existed at the time the Sphinx was created. And I'm of the school of thought that the Sphinx is much, much older than the pyramids based on Dr. Schock's analysis of the water erosion. That's right. And just to let you guys know, the pyramids were built from stones that were mined miles and miles and miles away that were transported to Giza via barges up on the Nile River. The Sphinx,
as far as we know.
It has to be because the stones don't come from there.
Right. Yeah. But as the barges, we don't know.
Oh, well, no.
That's just logic.
That's right. Either that or they carried barges a lot easier. But
I don't think they're carrying barges.
But the Sphinx, no. The Sphinx was not carried. The Sphinx was carved out of the spot exactly right where it sits. So that alone makes it completely different than the pyramids. Okay. So we're talking about a society long, long, long ago is what I'm talking about. All right.
We're talking about when we as primates first gathered in groups.
That's right, exactly. Just basically started living in small communities. Exactly.
Sure.
All right. So I'm thinking that maybe some of the smartest individuals of that time got together and they said, well, hell, we can't continue. Well, their own dialect, of course. We can't continue to do what we've done because
this is not a quote.
This is not a quote. No, the quote would be more like.
Gotcha. Just checking.
It would be hard to translate.
I didn't know if you had a reference you were going to throw at the end of
I think I understood part of that.
You might have. I mean, it's part of our baser instincts. But what I'm saying is, some of the smartest individuals of whatever group happen to be, and again, this could be from all over the world. I'm not laying this to any attribute to one particular society, but they got together and they said, we've got to stop living like we're living because there's no life in other words, we're never going to get in any better situation because it doesn't matter what we have. If we cultivate, if we trap, if we build a shelter, no matter what we do, someone's going to come along and just club our brains out and then take it from us, right? Because that's always been the case. In fact, parts of the world are still like that today. Whoever's got the biggest stick rules the land. So unless someone stood up and said, okay, we've got to change this or we're never going to better ourselves, we'd still be in the Stone Age.
So you think that that kind of flies in the face in terms of religion itself?
We're not got to religion yet.
Morality.
We're not got to that point. Yeah, right. No, we got to. What I'm saying is, at the very base of this pillar of discussion that we're talking about, someone had to get together, and they had probably a little higher intellect than the average individuals they were dealing with, and they said, "We got to stop this. We've got to. This is no way to live." Okay. In other words, because we can never have anything, because someone's just going to come along and take it from us.
Well, you know what? I think that a lot of the aspects of morality exist not just in us, but also in other animals that exist today.
You think an animal other than a human has a sense of morality?
Absolutely, they do.
I think that's absolutely stupidly ludicrous. What animal has?
Well, I'm a firm believer in.
My apologies. Do you think it's morality in animals, or just their instinct in trying to
do right by other animals?
No, keep their species going.
That's the definition of morality.
That is the definition
right.
of morality.
Or just to keep their species going. Is it based on their survival instincts, or you really think it's morality?
No, I wouldn't think it.
I'm a believer in a guy named Franz de Waal.
I like the last name.
He died just a couple months ago, and he was he's
and who is he?
Well, he's a scientist, and he studies. He's an ethologist.
A what?
Ethologist. I'll let Scott define what that is.
An ethologist? Well,
Yeah.
An ethologist is someone that studies how to study.
No.
Okay, what is it? What is it? He knows it because he read it last week. That's okay. We can let him be the smart one this time.
He studies ethy.
Yeah, well, he studies he studies interaction of animals, basically, not humans, but he studied how animals interact with one another.
The same species
he was a primatologist as well.
Same species or other species? How they interact within themselves or other species?
Multiple species.
So he studies.
He studied a lot of animals.
An othologist?
Ethiologist.
An
ETH.
So study of ethics?
Basically, yes.
Okay. Perhaps if you had pronounced it better the first time, I would have guessed it.
I pronounced it correctly.
I heard othologist. Did you hear othologist or
no,
ethologist?
Thomas didn't hear. He didn't hear
ethologist.
You had what?
Ethology.
Well, okay. He may have said it. My hearing isn't the best.
I didn't know I was teaching a grammar class.
You have to admit, is my hearing the best?
No.
No, it's when it's convenient.
No.
It's not. You're right.
Okay. All right. So this quack that you're talking about, or
He's
trying to
not
quote,
a quack.
Okay. He studies how animals react within their species and also without their species. And what's his conclusions into what end?
If you look at animals, and it's not just us, because we are animals.
Yes.
If you take something like as simple as a chimpanzee, if a chimpanzee gets in a fight, if two male
Excuse me,
chimps,
as simple as a chimpanzee? Other than humans, chimpanzees are
let me-
most
let me
advanced.
finish.
If you said a sea slug, I would have said simple.
I'll go simpler.
Don't say simple about
If you want me
chimpanzee.
to use you as an example, I'll go that way.
Please
Well, I
use
mean,
me.
if
Remember, I'm first
you're
generation.
going to speak about animals being simplistic and saying, okay, as an example of a simplistic animal, let me say chimpanzee. That's like saying, let me give an example of mathematical. Let me give you an example of simple mathematics by starting with tensor of algebraic equations.
Are you going to say that chimps don't have morality?
I'm going to say that I don't have a clue.
Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to educate you on.
Okay, good. Proceed.
So if you take chimpanzees and you look at them and you say, okay, two chimps get in a fight.
Mhm.
You know,
Which they do quite often.
quite commonly, after two male chimps fight, one of them will approach the other one, and they'll offer a hand as a gesture of friendship, and they'll sit together. And a lot of times they'll, for the best part of what I can explain it, they'll try to make up. Now there's people.
Wait a minute. Did you actually study this, or did you just watch Planet of the Apes? Because I watched Planet of the Apes like 3 weeks ago, and that's exactly what they
See,
did.
you're trying to make fun of something that somebody's had a life work doing.
See this. Thomas and I watched Planet of the Apes, and so did Travis. Ethologist, my ass. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're still mad about the word. Okay, so okay. Well, what are the pillars of morality?
Well, I'm sure that could be defined by anyone. Anyone comes up with a theory.
Well, there's a lot of philosophers that have defined it quite well. So where would you go?
Well, first, I'm not interested in their opinion. I'm interested in mine.
I am interested in their opinion.
Well, then give it to me. Educate me.
I'm trying, but all you want to do is talk about Planet of the Apes.
You mentioned chimpanzees.
This about the chimps. It's more than trying to perpetuate their species, right?
Yeah.
Based on this other guy's study, right? Because every species is trying to perpetuate and trying to do what's right within their species. And
what do you mean by do it right? You mean perpetuate the species?
Well,
doing what's right
like the survival of the fittest or the biggest bull wins.
That's a survival instinct.
I don't know that it equates to morals.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Like if two chimpanzees
I
are
think
in
a
a
survival
fight,
instinct is outside
somebody
morality.
got their butt kicked, and one of them doesn't want to die, so he walks up to the other chimpanzee and says,
That's a survival
don't
instinct.
eat me. I want to hang around.
Absolutely. And I want to procreate if I can.
Yeah, if
Sure.
you will permit
you'll
me,
let-
can I procreate?
Right.
But you just kicked my butt, but I don't want to leave. It's
Well,
hard out
it's
there.
Or die.
It's not just one example, Thomas. There are multiple examples throughout the animal kingdom where this occurs. It's not, and for us to say that that without religion we would not have morality is ludicrous. It really is, because if it exists in animals that have no religion or basis of that we know of at all, then obviously it had to come before religion ever occurred.
Well, I have to say, if you're saying, because you're trying to get 2 points that aren't equal. What I mean is this: you're trying to say we have to accept the point that chimpanzees have morality, even though there's no proof of it. We have a guy's opinion, and then also by the same token say we can't accept that they have religion because there's no proof of that either. How can you accept the fact that they have morality with no proof, and then dispense offhand that they don't have religion with the same lack of proof?
Yeah, is it morality, or is it just what chimpanzees do?
Is it just behavior?
Is it just their behavior? Right. In their species.
It's not just behavior. Reciprocity is a pillar of morality.
That's basically the golden rule.
Empathy is a pillar of morality.
Which again is the golden rule,
And
which is
there
treat someone like you want to be treated.
That's right.
Right.
There has they did a couple studies that I was watching a couple months back with one of our discussions that we had, where they had unequal pay with some primates that they were doing examples of, and they had
By pay, you're referring to food reward.
Yeah,
Okay.
food reward. They had little pieces of basically cucumber
Okay.
that they would give one, and they would give grapes to the other one, and they had several different things that happened when they did it. They had
Okay.
some of the apes would stop doing the tasks that they were made to do unless they had equality and everybody got grapes, or the ones that didn't get the grapes throw a fit, and they refused to do it because the other primates got grapes and they got cucumbers. And when you look at the type of actions that some of these scientists do when they do these types of studies,
Yes.
it goes into morality, because it's like, I'm getting grapes, but Scott ain't getting them, so I'm gonna stop doing what I'm doing until Scott gets grapes too. And it's no difference than pay equality in the workplace, and you find out that the guy sitting next to you is making $20 an hour and you're making 40, and you realize, this ain't fair. It's not morally correct that this guy does the same job that I do and he makes that much less than I do. I'm going to protest with him because I either empathize and I want reciprocity, or these things have to exist in order for you to get to a place in life or a place in societal evolution to where you can say, you know what, I'm going to write a whole paper on ethics and how we should treat other people, and this is how we're going to do it. Where you start off and it's a caveman, and all you got for a language is 15 grunts, and all you know is the girl that you love is sleeping with the guy next door.
She may not want to, but he clubbed her in the head and drug her to his cave.
And you know how that feels. So just like an animal would know how certain things feel, we share these type of things, these feelings and stuff, and it's the basis of morality.
Okay, see, I was about to have an exception to what you were saying,
but you can't.
Well, I can't, because there was one. If you were telling me that chimp A, who was fed grapes for his activity, and chimp B, who was receiving either nothing or cucumbers for the same activity, and then the chimp that was receiving a lesser reward just quit, then I would equate that to nothing more than a Pavlovian response, as a learned response. In other words, if you do what I'm asking you to do, you get a reward. There's no morality. There's no. With morality, a conscious decision has to be made.
That's right.
Okay. So In other words, if I'm not being fed what I want to be fed, then I'll just quit. But what you're saying that this guy did experiments. What was his name again?
DeWall.
Is it
not two L's, two A's?
H-A-L.
W-A-A-L, yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, that Wall, okay. So what you're saying is he did these experiments, and in these experiments, the chimp that was receiving grapes for doing the activity, and one chimp that was not receiving grapes, the chimp that was receiving grapes quit doing his activity until the chimp that was receiving no reward got his reward. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying the one that was getting cucumbers and didn't want them, he quit the one that was getting grapes quit his activity until both were given grapes.
Okay, so what you're saying then is that the chimp that was receiving the good reward took a conscious decision to say, you know what, even though I'm getting a good reward, I'm not going to eat any more of these.
And not all of them did. Some of them were greedy,
Well, I mean, not all people treat morality the same.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Not everybody is the same.
That's extremely interesting. I have to say that would put another level on it. Now, if that would put a conscious decision.
And some of the stuff.
How many times did this happen? Was it a one-time occurrence?
No, Franz de Waal. That was his life study. That's all he studied was animals,
Grapes and cucumbers,
and morality in animals, or what he thought was morality. It was a big. I'm sure.
It's speculation. Even for a scientist, it's just speculation.
And if y'all are looking for something, I would go to. There's a TED Talk. Franz de Waal did a TED Talk. I don't know how long ago it was.
Well, he's obviously a contemporary, though. He's alive today.
No, he's dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he did a TED Talk?
Yep.
So he just died recently.
Died this year.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Earlier this year.
All right.
But,
because I can't imagine any animal, chimpanzee included, and other than humanity, chimpanzee is the next closest thing we've got. Agreed?
Sure.
Okay. Because we know they can be taught sign language. They can be taught many, many tasks that humans can learn. Some humans can learn. That's extremely interesting. I'll have to look into that myself. Because other than humanity, look, I'll be more than happy to concede a point when I find something intriguing, and that was very intriguing. I'll admit that.
Well, they did. It's not just chimpanzees or primates that they did these studies with. Some of them.
Don't tell me they did it with banana slug, because then I know you're bullshitting.
They did it with elephants as well. They did a study with elephants. Same thing. But I mean, I'm sure if you go to the animals that are smarter, if you go to things, I found some studies on elephants.
Well, my next question: have they done studies with dolphins?
Not that I could find.
Because that would be the one I would go to.
I'm sure they have, and I just didn't run across it. There's a plethora of information on the internet on morality in animals.
Francis de Waal.
Franz de Waal. Franz de Waal.
All right, I'll look into that.
W-A-A-L.
Yeah.
With a double.
No kin
double
to you.
A.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
Sure.
Well, obviously, because if he were, he would know the answers to speculating.
How many Franzes do you have in your family?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay, maybe not.
All right.
But we're not ruling it out.
Okay, so getting back, first of all, that's very intriguing. Getting back to the point of what I was saying earlier about, let's stop living because of the guy with the largest club. At some point, someone said, "Well, how do we do that? How do we get everybody on board with this?" At some point, someone said, "Well, we say there's a gigantic guy in the sky that will punish us if we don't."
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and maybe that, and again, I wasn't there. This is just speculation. Maybe this gigantic guy in the sky appeared to these people, and maybe that's where they got the idea. Maybe they said, "Stop living there." I don't know that they didn't. Okay, I wasn't there, but I don't think it happened. I think that they decided, well, let's just tell everybody, hey, something happened, guys. We have to tell you about this. You can no longer take John's crop from him, because if you do, Skymen will curse you.
I think you're taking it a little too far. I think that.
Where do you think I should take it?
I think that the elements of morality that existed within us followed us into the ability to speak and have language, and it was just a matter of verbalizing them and putting them down. You might attribute them to a great being in the sky.
You're saying that the human condition has an inherent morality.
I think
quotient?
all societies.
I'm talking pre-society here first.
I'm talking.
We have
groups.
pre-society on the planet today.
We do. The Sentinel Island. Sentinel Island.
That's right.
Although we say pre-society, They have their own society.
That's right.
Yeah.
I guess.
But it's primitive to our standards.
Very primitive, right? So if there was ever somebody we were going to study, it would be those guys.
But we have to stay away from them.
We have to stay away from them.
Yeah, that's ruled by India, right? It's actually under India's purview, and they've told everyone to stay away.
Yeah.
It's Sentinel Island, guys. It's an island off the coast of India that has a very, very, very extremely seldom contact with the outside world, because basically every time it does, they kill people.
Right.
Yeah, well, thou shalt not kill is obviously not in their lexicon.
Well,
maybe they're defending. It's not necessarily killing. They're defending because it's what they don't know.
Well, I have to say, what I do know is this: one person went there to study them, and they treated him well, and he ended up molesting them, and then they ended up killing him, and now they try to kill everyone from that point on. Don't know exactly. I do know that's exactly what happened, but I don't know the time frame.
Oh, there was a bunch of British guys that went there and took a bunch of them back, or took a couple of them back to
society.
Britain back in the day.
Basically, they kidnapped them.
Yeah.
Then I don't blame these people for being
then
pissed
you
off.
become distrustful. But,
of course.
but I'm talking about social groups in general. I'm not saying society as we know it today. I'm talking about any cluster of social groups. If you've got animals that live in social groups, they're going to develop some form of morality within that group.
Well, if they don't, that's exactly what I'm saying. If they don't, then there's no group.
There's not.
That's right. Because if you don't adhere to a certain group of laws, if you will,
spoken or not,
basically there's no society, because you can kill whoever's next to you, you can kill your neighbor, you can do whatever. There is no society.
So basically, I win.
In what? But because monkeys
morality came before religion.
You think a wolf pack has morality?
Absolutely, they do.
Well, so it's morals, and it's not trying to keep the wolf pack alive.
Well, I mean,
you don't think they're trying to perpetuate and keep that pack alive, regardless of the cost? Because there's going to be a leader, there's going to be an alpha, right? There's going to be a couple of females, and the breeding's going to happen. They're going to try to keep that pack as strong and as healthy as possible. And you think that's only more? You think that's morals and not just?
I don't think it's only morals. I think morals exist within some of their attributes.
Gosh, that's awful. That's awful broad. The only point that you've got me to consider whatsoever, and I'll have to look at this, is this monkey, chimp and a monkey, completely different animals. Just to let you guys know, monkeys have tails, apes do not. A chimp is an ape. Okay. Nowhere outside of humanity can the definition of morality be introduced, other than this Franz Wall. If his studies are legitimate. They're not if no one else has put them to the test.
Like other students, other
scientists.
Academia, right?
That's right. And I'm not dismissing about him, but his opinion does not make it right. And I have to say, that's a fucking bold statement.
Do you think he took any leaps in any of his studies and findings?
No, I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Because you know what a leap that is to say that.
I don't think it's a leap. It's my stance that I've stood on for the past year every time we've broached the topic, and you just don't want to hear it because you don't want to educate yourself on it.
Untrue, completely untrue. If I didn't want to educate myself, then we wouldn't be having this conversation.
When's the last time you went to Google and typed in, "Do animals have morals"?
Never. I've never typed that in.
Well, you should.
Because I have to also take.
Because a whole genre of education.
I got to take exception with what you said a moment ago. I win. Since when is your sole purview the thing that morality existed before religion? I never said that. I never said I disagreed with that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. We gotta set that straight. Okay, Travis is eager to win, and I don't blame him.
He's trying to break
having lost for how many years?
Having lost forever, he's just looking for a win, and I understand.
He's just trying to break his foot out of the concrete.
What's the score right now?
Oh, the score about 3 Google to none.
Oh man!
Yeah, but he keeps trying, and I appreciate that. No, I'm teasing.
Is that stat going to appear?
I don't think
we have any special effects?
The screen's not wide enough.
Google takes up too many zeros.
Yes,
so sorry.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
So I'm going to have to stop eating cheese, I guess.
All right.
The screen's not wide enough.
Okay, so what I'm saying is society would have never gained a foothold, right? Would have never gained a foothold without some laws existing.
I'll tell you this, and this comes from the point of me being, I'm going to say something, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. We've known each other a long time, the guys at this table.
Oh, I tell you.
And Thomas is a go to church every Sunday kind of guy. And if you go from that end of the table to this one, I'm a dead fast atheist, and I'm not trying to offend anybody.
Whoa.
But,
Atheist or agnostic?
oh, I'm atheist.
Okay, you're atheist. I get
Yeah.
you.
I might have been agnostic in my 20s at some point.
Okay, I
but,
thought we had discussions at some point where you said you were agnostic. Okay, I get it.
But I guess when I look at things, I think I used to be steadfast that religion was a bad thing in society because it taught people stuff that was unrealistic. Well, let me finish.
No, I'm good.
And I've got to a point in my life where I've changed that and I flip-flopped, and not because I believe in something, but because I think a lot of people need that in their life. They need religion.
Any structure?
As a base of structure. Not necessarily for fear. I think you can take religion too far and it's kind of detrimental. But I think without it, you lose a lot of. I think a lot of people need that moral basis of do it or I'll slap you, in order to do the right thing. And
They need the threat of punishment.
They
What you're
need
saying?
the threat of punishment. Yeah,
And of course, this would be the ultimate punishment.
it is the ultimate
Right.
punishment. If you
What
believe it, yeah.
suffering in eternity forever?
Right,
Okay.
right.
Well, yeah. That's. I mean, that's the ultimate punishment, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because life as we know it here on earth is very brief, and we all know
Yeah,
that. But
just the
suffering in eternity, from which there's no reprieve, is the ultimate punishment.
Right, because I know how big and the expanse is just enormous. To me, that's like symbolic of everlasting life. It's just out there forever.
I'm not sure I follow. Go ahead.
Well, how big the universe is, that to me, that's how big the afterlife is as well. It's just immense. Right?
Okay,
it goes on forever.
So are you saying that heaven is the cosmos?
No. I'm
Okay.
saying that the size of the universe, to me, is equivalent to the size of the afterlife. It's just immense.
Both are infinite.
Both are infinite.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, even though the universe has an end, it's just huge and ever going. It's just a massive amount of distance and time.
Well, you think the universe has an end?
I thought for some reason I thought there were some studies and they found like static at one end of.
You're talking about the microwave background radiation?
That's it. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, they have found that, but that's kind of a different topic. But
absolutely it is. Yeah, it's huge. Is
well,
what
we
I'm
do
saying.
know the universe is expanding.
Right.
And it's expanding.
It has an ever expanding end.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
and
we can't catch up with.
so
Right.
if it's expanding into something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is
Absolutely.
that's a completely different podcast.
I'm just saying it's immense. Just like to me, the afterlife is also immense and forever.
immeasurable.
And, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
It's expanding
And-
pre-existing morality.
And
That's what
also,
it's
so
expanding to.
if I believe in a creator that
Which
gave
you
absolutely
Okay.
that gave me that feeling of trying to do the right thing, those morals and
Right. You're
you know,
equating that innate feeling to a creator giving that to you.
Right.
Okay.
and also so I believe in the creator that did that for me, also created everything else on the planet.
Everything else in the cosmos.
Right.
Right. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So why wouldn't he give a little droplets of that in the other animals as well? Give them a little bit. Hey, you need to do what's right. And in your
Are you
case,
saying why wouldn't he or why did he?
why wouldn't he?
Okay.
Yeah, if he did it for
meant
me,
it rhetorically.
yeah.
I
why
wanna make sure
wouldn't
I heard him right.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't he do it for the wolf pack? Why wouldn't he do it for the chimpanzees? Why wouldn't he do it for the dolphins? Do what's right in your species.
And if you believe,
Always do what's right in your species. Make it good for your species when you're doing it.
Well, and we know that chimpanzees kill each other,
They do.
but we
Right.
also know that humans do the same thing.
Humans do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
you know what I find funny is this, Thomas. When you look at religion and you look at morality within religion, much of the moral code that exists within religion is it's synchronized throughout all societies in the world.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Don't lie. Don't steal.
Don't kill.
Don't kill.
So-
it's not just Christianity.
No,
it's
of course.
almost every other religion that exists.
I have to admit that Christianity, as you well know, is the religion that I'm most familiar
well,
with.
sure.
Okay.
All of us are. We're born in the West, raised in the
You
West.
are, but you've had quite a bit of exposure to Islam.
I've had
You
a
know,
lot of exposure.
I mean,
to
you're
Islam.
not a Muslim, but you've had a lot of exposure to Islam. Much more than Thomas, right?
I thought I was for just about 5 minutes.
Well,
one
that's
time.
fine. And you were basically in in the midst of
I
it.
I never thought I was.
It would be hard not to over there, right? Did you ever were you ever afraid not to act a little bit like that so that they wouldn't say, hey?
Tell these guys what you mean by over there.
Oh, so in Asia, in the Islamic countries that you were in.
I spent about a decade in Middle Asia, in Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, places like that.
Yes.
So were you ever afraid not to have a little bit of their actions or live a little bit like that to keep them from saying, this guy's an outsider. He probably isn't one of us. Off with his head kind of attitude.
There's some places like that, sure.
Of course.
But,
Turkey?
but that goes back.
Did you ever do anything to act like maybe you were part of that culture?
In other words,
Absolutely.
did you have to pretend to survive?
Oh, I can put the show on, sure.
That's fine. Okay.
But I can go to a East Baptist church in East Tennessee and talk in tongues on the floor too. That don't mean I'm gonna.
You can
believe
do that,
what I'm doing.
but you wouldn't do that to have to survive.
No, you wouldn't have to do it to survive.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
That's right. Okay.
But having said that,
yes,
I know a lot of Muslims that are really good guys, and
well, sure.
Some of my best friends are from over there are Muslim, and I have no problem with that. You know, there's
one elderly gentleman you were very fond of.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. There's a bunch of
smart man.
Yeah. Chess player.
And a college mathematics professor.
Different topic after the show.
Yes.
Bring up chess. You're going to love this conversation.
I don't know if we will or not.
Yes.
But
I've never beaten Travis in chess, and I hate it.
But the fact is,
so Travis has 2 points.
The elements of morality when it comes to how you treat your family and how you treat the people around you doesn't just exist here, and we're just like we're a lone animal in the sense that we're all good and we treat each other great. It's the same around the world. Most people expect you to act in a certain way, and it's similar to the way we believe.
That is exactly right. But again, does that exist because it's religious, or does it exist because that is a tenet for society to develop?
And is it one of the tenets he's talking about? Is it one of the pillars that you referenced?
I think it evolves as society evolves. I don't think it may not have existed during the time of Neanderthal and all of that.
Well, before the
elements of it did, and it just. It's something that builds on itself.
Okay.
Obviously, having the ability to talk and verbalize the way you feel
is something
has
I'm having
an impact on morality.
Yes.
Because if other people feel the way you do, they're all going to say,
"Well, there's no need."
What's the moral thing to do? Hey, I slept with my neighbor's wife. Well, that was immoral.
If everyone feels,
was it if you were a caveman? And you didn't know, and it was just like a free game going on?
Maybe it wasn't until they got to...
It was, Thomas,
until
for a
they were
long
able
time.
to verbalize it, Thomas.
Right.
And then they said, hey, man...
And you hit somebody in the club with a head, and they're gone, and you're like, I guess he's going to sleep forever now. Maybe...
Well, yeah, I mean, yes.
Now I have 2 wives.
The ability
Maybe
to
I shouldn't have done
communicate
that.
between one another obviously had to come before any of this discussion, because otherwise you couldn't convey your ideals to these people.
Absolutely.
Okay, I agree. I have no problem with that. But what I'm saying is, in other words... What we're saying, guys, is that humanity first had to have the ability to communicate with one another rudimentarily, right?
That's right.
Otherwise, they couldn't convey any idea between themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because how do you express how you feel about something unless you're able to?
Well, you can't.
Well, frustration,
you
body actions.
Body language, Thomas, is a big one.
But that's also a language. I'm talking about,
of course,
of sorts. That's not a spoken language. That's a
expression,
gesticular language. Okay. Without the tenet of behavior, and again, the simplest terms to say what the behavior that we're referring to is basically the golden rule. Without being able to empathize yourself in the other person's situation, society could not have developed, correct?
That's right.
Okay. So, did they find it easier, that those first prototypical people, did they find it easier to say, if we want to move from caves to straw huts, to stone structures, to log huts, whatever, log homes, should we stop killing one another, or did the threat say, if I don't kill you, or if I do kill you, the giant man in the sky is going to send a lightning bolt at me? What do you think was the most receptive manner to tell your fellow people at that time?
I wasn't there. I don't know.
I know that, but what I'm saying is, obviously you weren't, and I get that. But guess, tell me what you think would happen.
I couldn't guess. I mean, honestly, I really couldn't.
So when do you think morals started taking hold of early human?
Pre-language.
Pre-language. Okay.
Just like they do in the animals. Some of the animals, the higher learning ability animals that we have.
Well, no other. I mean, we know that obviously whales, sperm whales, communicate the songs.
Orca have a lot of
killer whales do, and we also know that and dolphins, they have their clicks that they communicate with, and then humanity, of course, has a spoken language. Obviously, that's how we're conveying to you guys. But chimpanzees don't communicate verbally.
Body language.
They do, but that's not verbal.
No, but I can look on your face and tell whether you're mad, whether you're sad.
You talking about humanity or chimpanzees?
Both. You
can look at a chimpanzee and tell he's mad by his facial gestures.
I'm sure another chimp can.
I think it would be a vocal.
I'm asking you.
I think it would probably be vocal, the way they scream and act and all this.
Give us an example, Thomas.
You just did.
Yeah, that was it. That was my chimpanzee.
I didn't see it all. Do it one more time, Thomas.
Was this. Go chimpanzee.
Well, and we did this earlier.
Oh.
We did that earlier. That's being subservient, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, if a dog growls at you, he shows you his teeth.
We know he's angry.
Or
threatened.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like there's a Russian saying that goes, just because you see the teeth of a lion, that doesn't mean that he's smiling at you.
There's a Russian saying?
Yeah.
There's no lions in Russia.
There's tigers.
If a dog lays down and rolls over and shows you his belly.
There's tigers in Russia. In a zoo.
No. In the wild.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
It's Asian.
Pretty big country, Tom.
Yeah.
It's a huge country. It's the biggest country.
On the East Coast.
But I mean, if a dog rolls over and he shows you his belly, it's
China.
a submissive sign. And it's obvious he's not a threat. I mean, there's body language that exhibits emotion. Not just in us, in animals too.
Well, of course. But we're not talking. I mean, emotion is a basal reaction. We're not. Yeah. That's. Society doesn't depend, nor does religion or morality depend on emotion, right? That's outside those purviews, correct?
Society doesn't depend on emotion?
Absolutely, not at all.
Depends.
Society will exist or will not exist. It can care less how you feel about
emotion could destroy a society.
Behavior can, but not emotion.
Well,
emotion leads to behavior.
That's exactly right, Scott.
I think emotion will lead to the outcome and give you a behavior.
Absolutely.
I really, really.
Well, okay, hold on.
And there's tigers on the Pacific coast of Russia.
Okay, very good.
The end.
All right. No, I was never doubting you.
No.
I just didn't know.
I was doubting myself. I had to go
back to it.
That's okay.
No problem.
Yeah, I think, sure, emotion is going to lead to an outcome. Absolutely, and give a particular behavior.
Yes, but what I'm saying is emotion is not a learned or a taught behavior.
No, absolutely not.
Right.
Babies have emotion.
When we talk about religion and we talk about morality and we talk about law, which is the core tenet of this discussion, emotion has no part in that, right? But emotion comes from within. No one taught you to feel a certain way, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or any animal either. So that's why it's outside the purview of this discussion. Now what I'm saying is
empathy not an emotion?
Empathy is the ability to feel emotion and to project that emotion. Yeah. It is not an emotion per se. No.
But do your actions, are they influenced by empathy?
I think your actions are influenced by sympathy.
Well,
where empathy, you like, well, I've done it before. I don't give a crap, but I understand how you feel.
Sympathy is an empathetic reaction.
Right, yes. Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
And therefore it will give you a behavior a behavior towards that person that you may be feeling sorry for. Where empathetic,
empathy, right?
Right. You may not. I think sympathy is going to give you a different behavior. That's just me.
The only emotion.
I am not a scientist.
No, that's okay. What I'm saying is, I don't think that emotion.
Don't take any of this to the bank.
No, the only emotion that would take any part in this discussion, if we want to base anything that we're talking about on relevance, would be the fact that I want to survive. In other words, and that again, I mean, we all want to survive, right? that's not a choice. You just want to survive. I mean, unless people are suicidal, which they are. Which, if you guys think about suicide, don't do it. There's always been. If you think it's so bad, if you think it's so bad today that I don't want to see tomorrow, then things got to get better, right? Absolutely. Okay. Yeah.
So if you covet your neighbor,
or your neighbor's wife,
or anything,
okay, that's one of the 7 deadly sins. Don't do it.
Isn't that an emotion?
Coveting? No, it is. Yeah. It is. But again,
and if you walk over to his house and you steal something that you covet,
well, that's wrong.
Isn't that immoral?
Of course.
Yes, it is, and that's exactly what I'm saying. That's the condition that existed before society.
It still exists.
Well,
right.
And we admitted that as well. There's places on the earth today that those individuals that have the biggest stick still make the rules, or biggest weapon. And we know that, right? But what we're saying is...
Did you say biggest sticks?
Biggest stick. Stick.
Okay.
Okay. But what we're saying is the reason that other societies, Greek society and Western philosophy developed is because somebody at some point said, this is not the way to be anymore. Right? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. And so what I'm saying is what was the biggest way to convince those that do not feel the way that you felt about that to do so? Was it the threat of a giant sky being with lightning bolts, or was it saying, hey, let me show you a better way to live? Was it just common talk?
Or was it the threat of, we now have laws in our society. If you do this again, you're going to be beheaded. We're going to put you in jail. We're going to kick you out.
Well, I think that laws came because people should adhere to morality.
Right. Okay. I'll give you that.
So laws came after.
Okay.
I think what we're talking about.
As did religion in the big.
So I jumped ahead. Yeah.
No, that's fine. No, that's a good. That's a very good thought.
So because I would almost bet that for a while there were civilizations that just had morality with no laws.
Or
right. And that's what we're saying, right?
Absolutely.
So
we don't know about the religion thing.
Right.
We can guesstimate.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
If you will concede that there are elements of morality within the chimpanzee, the elephant,
I can't concede that until I see. I will not concede that until I see the study.
If you concede that, then it had to be the same in us, which would mean that we formed our religion around
morality,
our basis of morality that existed. What little elements of it there were.
I think if the drive to act in a moral fashion did not exist, then religion would not exist. I agree with that.
Okay.
Okay, I agree with that.
Then I win?
You don't win anything. You don't win anything because I never contested that point. But what I'm saying is...
The chicken came first.
She never said I'm a chicken. Where's your chicken? Where's chicken first shirt at? Okay. Where's Team Chicken? Okay.
I'm Team Chicken.
Okay. Well, yes, but neither one of us or any of us said we were on either team. We're just exploring the possibilities.
Oh, I'm on the chicken team.
Yeah, and I'm over here, with the mindset of, based on what I believe, nothing is forced on me. No way to believe at all. Yeah. Nothing that I believe has been...
Law is forced on you.
Right, but sure not my belief.
Okay.
Right. So at the same time, going all the way back to those morals that you think happened before, from where I stand, humans were created, and that was innate. It was built in them to be that way. And time over time over time, it kept winning, and it kept winning, and it kept winning, because that's what my Creator wanted to happen and knew one day, I'm not going to force this on you. I'm not going to force me on you.
Because you have free will.
You have free will. So
and Thomas is a Christian.
Right. I am.
As am I.
So time after time after time, this is building. And my Creator, my God, is knowing, I know the end of this. I know the end. So I'm okay with this progression. I'm okay with
What's the progression? Give me point A to point Z.
So back to creation, the morals that were there, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this.
And you're talking pre-law.
Way pre-law.
Okay.
And eventually it kind of was built in. It was already built in, but it just started, the humans turned it in to the law that he wanted.
Well,
don't do
nothing
this.
but rules that we had pre-existing that
Absolutely.
we just wrote down on paper.
Right.
And I got to say, because
I think they're based on our morals. We don't think it's right to kill.
I love how you say you're a Christian, and Scott goes, I'm a Christian. And
I am.
I wanted to interject and say,
I am.
As a quote from,
I may not be the textbook Christian, and I'll be the first to admit that.
Oh, brother, we're out there where he goes, I guess I'm the only one that remains unaffiliated.
That was such a funny movie. So I just think over time, God knows the outcome, and He's okay with the progression, the slow time, the buildup of the morals turning into laws, turning into where we're at. So I think over time, the morals turned into the religion that He wanted, turned into the laws that He wanted, turned into our society today.
Well, and you say He's patient.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if we
this has been going on a long time.
That's right. But He was according to what your belief is, and I'm not so sure mine. And let me say, I say I'm a Christian because that's the way I was raised. But I have a extremely hard.
Oh, it's not easy.
Time. I know
it's not easy being a Christian, knowing everything you know about science.
I know, that's what I was letting these, because they don't know. They don't. That's okay. They don't know me. But I am, just to let you guys know where I'm at right now in my life. I think every bit of this is a simulation.
Well, this is another conversation.
It is. But I'm letting them know where I was coming from.
I'm on board with you almost.
Okay.
I'm real close.
And how I justify being a Christian, believing that this entire thing is a simulation, if it is a simulation, which I obviously do not know whether it is or isn't, but how I justify being a Christian within the simulation that I truly believe is the case, is someone had to program that simulation, and I can't differentiate between a master programmer and God.
I'm the programmer.
I know that ain't true. If that's the case, then I'm going to be really disappointed in the afterlife.
Oh, you're going to be disappointed.
He's just going to program you to believe the way He wants you to believe. He's just doing this for His own fun.
So, in other words, holy shit! That I would rather have done a lot of worse things than I've ever done in my life if you're my reward.
Yes, because that's hilarious.
I could think of some worse rewards.
And so could I.
He's been with you.
Okay.
Never mind.
Okay, I get that, Thomas. I do, and I appreciate your candor. But we've not really explored then. Okay, so you're saying it, and
but you know what I like? I want to ask you something, Thomas.
Ahead.
If you go back here, and I have no problem with what you believe, and you know.
Oh, I know.
No, I don't care about your.
It wouldn't matter if
Christianity,
you did or not, because it wouldn't matter to him.
Well, it doesn't matter to me either.
Right, and I get that.
And do you love me anyway?
I love you.
I
You're
know.
my brother.
I know.
They had but on the same token, I would say I'm curious. When you look at man and the evolution of man, because you have to understand, and I know I'm assuming, because I don't think I've ever even asked you. You believe that we existed like Neanderthal did, pre-fire and everything else.
I think there's proof of it, so I can't disregard that
Okay,
proof.
now given that, even though you say this is something that is innate within us,
morality.
Then it still had to be there prior to what we have in terms of religion today.
Well, time frame in the Bible is hard for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know a lot of people like to think it happened maybe 8,000 years ago, but
and they're taking the Bible's
right.
dates as literal.
As literal. That's why I said a few minutes ago, it's hard to be a Christian when you know what you know about science.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because we go back 50,000 years, right?
Or longer.
Or longer.
Hundreds of thousands.
It's crazy when they find skeletons
if
of
you're
early
willing
man.
to admit that people evolved from like Neanderthal or whatever, then it's back millions of years.
Absolutely. And
we
I can do
evolve
that.
From Neanderthal.
I can do that.
They might have a little bit of DNA in them.
No, that's not it. That's a fact.
Or some of us,
but we're not.
Some of us may have more Neanderthal DNA, right?
Well, the fact that we have Neanderthal DNA in our systems proves that our species at some point interbred.
Right.
Yeah, but that don't mean we evolved from them.
So you go all the way
They
back to
our DNA.
Adam and Eve, and you get all the way back to Cain and Abel.
Way back before that.
Right.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Well, you have to.
I mean, there was a
well,
lot of
could be taken. Of course, you know my thought on evolution. I don't, and just so you guys know.
God.
I mean, no, listen. I don't take evolution as prescribed by Charles Darwin. And I mean, and Travis knows this. I've said this for years, and you know
he has, and he don't have a good answer for why.
Well, my only case in point is you don't see things crawling out of the ocean today, right? If you agree that evolution exists as a continuing process, which is exactly what Charles Darwin said, then things continue to evolve. If that's the case, then why haven't sharks developed with two tails? In other words, we have fossils with sharks that are over 350 million years old.
And they look like sharks today.
They had no need to evolve.
Sorry. No, you can always swim faster. You can always swim faster. You can always swim stronger.
No.
Well, that's your opinion.
Oh, well,
If
So-
you're telling
so
me in
you-
350 million years that a shark at one time swimming in shallow water says, oh, damn, I see a deer over there. I'd like to jump on his ass, but I can't do that because I don't have fucking legs. 350 million years,
We're not talking
one
about-
shark swimming in shallow water didn't have a damn leg.
we're talking about morality, not sharks, Scott.
My point is,
I
get your
think
point.
that's a win
Okay.
for Scott.
No,
what now?
it's not.
I think it's a win
We'll
for
come back
Scott.
on a different day and we'll address it.
all right. But yes, I do have an exception. I do not have a superior theory to evolution, not by any means.
I'm not surprised.
And I'll admit that. I did. What I'm saying is evolution's not right. There's too much missing in our DNA that shows that we leapt from point A to point B. We have, that's a different podcast. That's actually one that we can get into that's very, very interesting. Humanity's DNA is different than every other DNA on the entire planet. Not because we're humans and other species are not, but because there's alterations within our DNA which cannot be explained by evolution. And that's something we should tackle another topic. It's very interesting. Yeah.
So
very,
which
very-
came first,
Chicken or the egg?
Chicken.
evolution or religion? I mean, not evolution or religion.
Okay.
Morality or religion?
Okay. I would think.
Morality.
I would absolutely think that the conscious decision of beings that could think, said that we have to stop killing one another in order for our lives to be better. So, I don't know so much as that's a morality choice or if it's a survival instinct.
Not
Well,
killing your neighbor
I'm going to
definitely is
say
a moral choice.
morality
Not if
came
your neighbor's
first.
threatening you.
That's different.
Right? No, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah. I want to say
Thomas.
morality came first, but it's only because that's the way we were designed by the Creator to have those morals. And henceforth, it led to the religion.
And then which led to laws and which
Right.
led to society.
Right.
Okay. So in
my
other words, we
Creator-
didn't have a choice in it.
Right. My Creator said, boom, there you go. I know where you're going, and it's going to be rough to get there, but eventually everything's going to take hold and be where I want it to be.
If he really said that, Thomas, then you didn't have any free will.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
That's a whole different topic.
But
No,
it
it's
was
not
free.
right.
But
Yeah,
it is
it's
free
true.
will because if it was forced on us, we would not kill. We would not rape.
The only part of free will you have is whether you choose to or not to be moral in your choices.
Well, he's saying if I guess him right, he's saying that morality is encoded into our
Of course it is.
genetic being.
because out
See, I don't think it is.
out.
I don't think it is.
I think it's a part of
and again-
evolution.
And again, Thomas, I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, that's okay.
What you believe.
I really think we're born with morals because I've seen little kids act really, really kind, and I've seen kids do
you
something.
did, but they've also been raised by parents.
Well, that's true, but I've also seen kids and children do something wrong. They knew that it was wrong.
Have you ever seen
immediately.
Lord of the Flies?
No, but I read the
Read
book
the
in
book.
high school.
Okay, well then you understand that outside the influence of
parents,
parental
right.
influence, you see what happens.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, that's a fictional story, obviously. But
World War II, right?
what now?
Based on World War II, getting the children out of England.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, that's right.
Crashed
Loved
on the
it.
island.
Yeah.
And they developed their own
The
society. Lord of the
Conch.
Flies, read it. It's good.
Love it. The conch, whoever has it can speak, right?
Right. Oh, that's right. Yes.
Oh, we
Yeah.
need one of those on this table.
I know. Give me the conch, baby.
Do you think that's where conscious come from?
Nice
I'm
tie-in.
kidding. Okay. No. Okay. What you're saying is that the Creator gave an innate ability of morality.
A lot of
condition
stuff.
of morality. Right. Okay. And
He's not going to force you to figure it out, but eventually you
well,
will.
if it's encoded into the genetic material that from which you're created, then whether or not you act on it is your choice. I get that.
Absolutely.
But you didn't have a choice whether or not you wanted that to be.
Oh,
part of you.
absolutely. We didn't have a choice at all.
Okay.
Right.
All right, Travis, your thoughts?
I don't have any.
Yes, you do.
I think morality, like I said,
You think it's innate?
I think it's innate. It comes about with evolution, and then once you develop social
You said that.
structure,
You said that E word again. I hate that E
once
word.
you get into a social structure, it doesn't matter what you are.
Yes, but you're saying animal. What we're saying is social structure. We're talking pre-social structure.
I am.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking.
But what you just said was once you get into a social structure, tell me what before the social structure.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think it had to be innate. It had to be there, or the possibility.
So you agree, Thomas? You agree, Thomas, that
I don't think it came from a creator, but I think it was.
That's fine. I get that. But what? But you both agree, creator or not creator.
I agree.
You agree that to act in a moral nature is something that's innate in the human condition.
Absolutely.
But I go back to this. Is it because we want to perpetuate our species?
That would be my next point.
I would have to say yes.
Well, then that's two different things.
We have got to stop killing ourselves and act like we want to have a.
That's not morality. That's survival.
Right.
That's survival. But I mean, there's elements of morality that go well past "don't kill your neighbor." You know.
Well, of course, yeah.
Gosh, but you know what? I mean, we might have to concede the point that there is no solution in this discussion,
except that the chicken came first.
Or in other words, to say that Travis won, right? We don't have any idea what that means, but as long as it makes him happy, and he won't bitch for the next 2 hours, then I'll agree to it.
And how many times has he beat you in chess?
Every time.
Oh,
every time. Every time.
Oh, so before we go,
fucking time.
Before we go,
I'm glad y'all said that. I don't even have to brag.
Every time. Well, the last time I played serious chess was the 8th damn grade.
Oh,
it was. It was. That's been a long time ago.
A big shout out to Steve.
Thank you,
shirts.
Steve.
Love the shirts. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Michelle, for allowing Steve.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And to Marty and Leanne and Chuck, thanks for talking about us, and appreciate it. Did I say it also?
And thank you for Shannon.
Shannon. Thank you, Shannon.
Yes.
And
Shannon from Inglewood.
And again to Tony. She's off the charts with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have to agree that the conclusion of this discussion must be that we don't know.
That's right.
There's no way to know.
It's only how we feel.
It's just,
and believe.
There's an answer.
There is an answer.
It ain't how you feel.
No,
there's an answer.
There is an answer.
Well, my belief is how I feel.
But discovering the answer to that is
absolutely
kind of
difficult. And I'm out of water.
And it may be outside our purview. You know, in other words,
we're just not smart enough to figure it out.
Well, I mean,
that's obvious.
I don't know.
It is obvious. I still have to update my resume.
I mean,
it's just getting worse and worse.
Let me tell you, there's so many things that I do
not know, I once was.
Which is exactly why I like learning every damn day.
Yeah,
every day.
And I never have enough time. You know, like that Twilight Zone episode where Burgess Meredith breaks his glasses. He finally says he's had enough time, to in other words.
I love Burgess Meredith.
Me too.
Great actor.
It was in a Twilight Zone episode, and it was a guy. All he ever wanted to do was read and learn and learn and learn. And but he never had enough time. He had a job as a bank teller, and he never ever had enough time. He had a wife that nagged him. He had responsibilities and so forth. So he never had enough time to discover what he wanted to do. So finally, he went into because he said he worked at a bank. He went into the bank vault, and the atomic bomb exploded, and basically a nuclear war occurred.
I remember this.
Yes, and so while he was in the bank vault, he didn't die like most everyone else did.
He didn't know the bomb.
He didn't know the bomb had been dropped. So he exited the vault, and he came out, and he was across the street from a public library, and he realized what had happened. And he think, oh my God, finally I've got enough time. I can actually read. I can learn. It didn't matter to him that society no longer existed. But, he walked across the street to get this library, and he piled all these books up, and he was reaching down to pick up his very first book, and the glasses that he needed to read dropped off his head. You have to watch the episode. Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you guys very much for joining us and being part of this discussion. And please send us messages via our email address, and also post comments on the videos.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's our email?
The email is how did we get here? HEAR 42 at gmail.com.
Right.
Yes. It's either I have to say this. It's either how did we get here? HEAR 42 podcast at gmail.com. Or how did we get here? HEAR 42 at gmail.com.
Right.
One of those two. I'll let you guys know in a later episode. But
I think
you
what you want to hear.
You can comment.
In the comments, you can tell us what you want to hear.
Tell us what liquor you'd like us to try. Tell us what food you think is gross, what food you think is good. Tell us to comment on anything that you want to hear us comment on that, because trust me, we have opinions on everything.
And we've got a food challenge coming up that's going to make you laugh so hard.
Oh, either laugh or gross. I'm
not looking forward to it.
We have surströmming coming, which is the Swedish rotting herring delicacy that they love that is the most putrid food in the world.
And I've got a strong gag reflex.
Do you?
I do. It's going to be hilarious.
Whoa. By strong gag reflex, do you mean that you never gag or that you gag at the sight of something?
At the sight, the smell, the sound.
Okay.
It's going to be wonderful.
All right.
Because
are you going to do this?
I have to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
I mean, I have. Travis and I have had this discussion. We think that you have absolutely every intent of doing it. But when it comes to the point,
I
have every intent of being there for it.
Okay.
And I will push myself further than I've ever pushed myself before.
Will you pick up this putrid, rotting fish flesh and place it in your mouth? And the reason I'm saying this is because I've seen
I will most certainly try.
I know that. I have no doubt. And for that I love you. For that I love you.
I love it.
All
when
right,
he
so
puts
stay
nasty things in
tuned,
his
right?
mouth.
Yes, stay tuned. About 7 days from the publication date of this episode. Well, if we get it. It's when we get it in the mail. It's in custom. Order. It has to come from customs. So thank you very much.
Send us your ideas.
Please comment. Please indeed comment. Like and subscribe. And we promise we love every one of you guys watching us. We really, really do. Thank you very much. And from the How Do We Get Here podcast gang, we'll see you next time.